liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent. Although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate. And your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Evening Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Corky. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com. We're also on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and UltraNet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good evening to all of our friends out there in Lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with the outlying two states, territories, CONUS, and the clock. It is 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the bottom of the state of Michigan. It is Weapons Wednesday. It is the 1st of July. It is the 12th year of open Fabian, Socialist, and Soviet Socialist Occupation of America with a K. 2020 Old Earth Calendar, 2020 Year of Conflict, Year of Betrayal. Got a lot of work to do, not enough time to get it all done, but oh well, that's the way the world works. We are into the next month, and already at the end of the first day of the new month, the July. Window of activity for Antifa/Israeli and Communist Chinese-run aggressor operatives inside the United States. We can expect the Israelis to do a series of bombings here through the Mossad, claiming to be, of course, somebody else. This is the natural cyclic escalation of things. This weekend is probably the most target window specific. So let's all pay attention. Let's understand we're not going to panic. Have a plan right now. Have a plan. Remember, organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. Establish a 510 program in your area of operation. Again, more food and ammunition. Both are weapons. Government will either try to starve you to death at the instruction of the Israeli mafia, or they will try to shoot you at the instruction of the Israeli/Jewish mob. So, as you've seen, look at the disaster and mayhem created across the country. That was done by a clique behind the curtain. The clique behind the curtain are the same old kosher mafia that have done this in other communist countries before and are trying to make America a finalized communist regime. We got enough of them in the regime already. We have a caller. Who do we have?
Hey, we got Tom from Northern Michigan.
Man, what's jumping off there? Go ahead.
Not much. I want to let you know that my shipment of applesauce came in this morning.
Oh, very good. Oh, another one.
This time this time the person gave me crate full, which is like 24 to 25 boxes.
Excellent. Anything like that we can get, like I've said, just keep grabbing it, because as I was pointing out this last weekend, we have a plan for picking up the ambulances and, for expanding on the medical detachments. I've been in touch with a handful of other people that have tracked down ambulances in their local area, plus I found 3. So we're going to be outfitting those, and one of the things that what you're picking up is going to be one of the onboard foodstuffs. Very common for medical to actually have those squeeze tubes for obvious reasons, for ease and maintenance and cleanliness in a restricted area. So, Tom, we need all of those. We can get our hands on. Doesn't matter what flavor they are. Doesn't matter what they are. I don't care if it's asparagus. Okay. It doesn't make any difference. Grab all of them that he can and tell him to keep doing what he's doing. We greatly appreciate that. We'll make a trade. Don't worry. We'll find something that I'm sure he needs.
Plus, it'd be good for like when you're backpacking and putting in your MRE kits.
Absolutely. Well, actually, one of the first of the fruits that was in the MRE was freeze-dried. When they went to MREs, number one, applesauce had been in the cans too, but, certainly it was one of the big ones they put into the pouches with the MREs. And applesauce is a good utility item, easy to process. All the vitamins and minerals that you need are critical. And it's a good pick-me-up. It's sweet, it's sugary, it's got flavor. It's a change-up. It's a pick-me-up thing. So anytime we can find anything like that, grab them. The same is true with any of these ration bars or protein workout bars. Pay attention over at Big Lot. Big Lot has been getting a lot of excess inventory that they have to mark down. A lot of the kits that I have packed up, we just picked up a whole bunch of the protein bars of the workout type, and it's everything from something with apricots and cashews, and it's like just gobbledygook, goodliness, to the traditional whey type protein bars, which are space food. So between the applesauce and the space food bars and a bunch of other stuff, you can have a lot of concentrated food, and you can carry a hell of a lot more than a 3-day, 72-hour reserve that way. So these are priceless.
Not only that, and when you're going a long trip and you got children, you give them that applesauce.
Right, exactly. They may not eat much, but they'll eat that. Well, they're going to eat everything because they aren't going to have a choice, really. I shouldn't say it that way. Here's how it works. Their fussy won't exist anymore. Once the bullets start flying, and as it is, everybody should be working on this anyway. Guess what? What we got to eat, you better eat it, because there ain't going to be anything else. So congratulations. You want to starve? I'm really not worried about it. But if you're smart, you'll take what we have, eat what we offer, and if there's a little left over, you might even get some extra. But beyond that, you're going to get fed. But whatever's in the pan is what's going to be on your plate. Just a heads up on that one. And make sure everybody understands that, too. It's where we need to be. Anything else? What else? Oh, by the way, before we go any farther, Chelsea, Michigan, Antifa/Black Lives Matter want to come and bust up Chelsea, Michigan. Boy, they're really frothing at the mouth right now in the BLM social media. But also over there with the Antifa scum out of Ann Arbor here. But they're pulling in stuff from Detroit, looks like even up towards Flint. They're trying to pull out all the stops, and tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the evening, although we can pretty well assume it'll be a lot sooner than that, everybody is going to have to be ready to deal with the problem in Chelsea. 8th Regimental Combat Team, the fast attack / squadron that is presently down in the Hillsdale area will stay there. You are not moving. You're not going to be reassigned to any other position. And I would bring this up. The reason I've been arguing for this is because, guys, we're heading towards the holiday. The bad guys are going to try and escalate stuff. Just because they're going to announce they're going to be in one place doesn't mean they can't be in 20 others. So where we are, what we've already done, we're going to take advantage of. We have plenty of other technology and support personnel and militia units that can deal with the problem in our respective area. Our mission is to make sure the bad guys don't get away. In fact, we're looking for their lieutenants and their behind-the-curtain management. So that's what we're hard pressed on right now. In fact, we're doing surveys for signal communications way in advance right now because we got to figure the bad guys are scoping stuff out. So we're watching for the Mossad Classic-type teams. We're looking for all the rest of the other turds that are typically running behind the curtain for the communists up front. And that's what all of you should be doing right now. It's not hard. The enemy isn't hard to pick out or identify either, by the way. So be prepared for that. Anything else? Tom, jump in there, please.
No, nothing as of yet. Just want to let you know I got my shipment of applesauce in, and he's going to look about getting me more of them bags to make like sandbags and stuff. So I'm working on stuff on my end.
Well, remind him if he's something in particular he needs tactically, then we'll make sure we kind of trade off some stuff there. We'll make sure he's got some stuff piled up. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good. I just want to let you know that I asked him he said, how much you need? I go, as much as you can get. I didn't realize he was going to give me this much, though.
Oh, that's good. Don't worry. We'll send a truck up to pick it up. Like I said, find out what he needs right now.
All right. I'll ask him.
He needs, sleeping bags, backpack. What else is missing in his inventory? Whatever it is, we'll take care of it. Sound good?
I'll ask him what he needs.
Okay, very good. And again, on that note, a little different from weapons. It is Weapons Wednesday, but over at Sportsman's Guide, Dutch military surplus cotton crew socks, brand new, unissued, 12 pairs for $10.79, and they do have them in sizes. So actually, it looks like, whoa, they have large. Oh, they sold out of the mediums. That's rather interesting. Well, they have large. So if you're a large foot, congratulations. 12 pairs of Dutch military surplus cotton crew socks. I would point out that the Dutch pretty well standardize on mostly American, although they do use some of the British pattern gear. Certainly their camo is more in the British pattern for the Dutch DPM. But these are white cotton socks, a dozen pairs for $10.79. These are not junk. The Dutch don't make junk. They copy U.S. military. So they're one of those that are very religious about that, if you haven't noticed. So the cool thing is very high quality, great price, less than $1 a pair for a pair of socks. Go ahead, caller. Who do we have?
Tom again. I just remembered something. I picked up a base CV today and an antenna for $20 at a yard sale. Actually, a moving sale.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna get that hooked up in the next few days. Someone's gonna bring me a power supply and stuff like that. And we're gonna hook it up. But it's a base CV. It's a Midland. Like I said, the people were moving and they wanted everything, and so they said, yeah, just $20, okay.
Excellent. Now, the thing is, you can use a PVC pipe or you can use a metal pipe with a flange, like a plate, depending on what kind of mount they have for the antenna. We've done this with mobile mounts for years. You take a flange base, which is like a big round base with four screw points. Just mount it on the top of a piece of iron pipe. Take the magnet mount, hook it up, just clip it right to the top. Take a couple of zip ties, keep the cable from flopping around, and to hook it up to the body of the pipe, just to keep it from bouncing around, and then hook it up to your radio. So, pretty straightforward. Simple way to get a mast up real quick. Piece of iron pipe, 10 feet, 20 feet long, whatever you can find. And pre-threaded, that way the flange works without any complication too. Pretty easy. We were talking about ARs during the 2-hour block quite a bit because everybody's looking for them. Weapons Wednesday. As far as whole rifles go, there are a number of kits at Palmetto. They are twice the cost that they have been. Don't be surprised. We warned you about that. When things were cheap, should have been buying them cheap. Now that they're high, that's just how it is. There's not a whole lot you're going to do other than shop around to see if you can find a little better price here and there. We mentioned CDNN Investments, www.cdnninvestments.com. Investments. I'm going to try and get this. Oh, that's fascinating. Investments.com. There we are. And, well, yeah, right off the bat, a Ruger 5.56, only $900. Yeah, I know. Everybody's looking at the prices and going cross-eyed, and it's like, guys, I warned you about this. Now it should be a surprise. Something I missed. They do have some pouches and canvas gear that they picked up. Eagle Industries, double stack mag, triple holster, green. There's a couple of different things that they've got in the inventory right now. You might want to go check it out. They've gotten hold of some surplus stuff. So if you are looking for grenadiers pouches or mag pouches or grenade pouches, they do have some stuff that they have included in the inventory now. So you might want to do a run-up on surplus, see what they have there. But at CDN Investments, we were talking about, spare parts, pieces, and assemblies, or trying to find maybe the uppers, a complete barrel or upper assembly if you really aren't going to worry about the polymer. CDN Investments is one of the companies that does have different systems available at different times. They do carry Ruger, Smith. They carry Ruger separate and Smith separate. Make sure I get that right so you don't have any confusion there. The Smith & Wesson 5.56 guns, which it's just another flavor of the day. Personally, cheapest for the most, this is what I'm concerned with right now, and you should be too, because if you're in a situation where you got a bunch of people to outfit, what you're doing is you're trying to find the best way to get everybody into the standard arm that is your unit's, benchmark, and then go from there. Example, Remington, R15-223 fluted 16-inch build kit in Cryptech, $589. Now, I would point out, this does not typically, I don't think this has a bolt carrier, and I do not believe it has a charging handle. I'm right. Bolt carrier group is missing, charging handle is missing, and no magazine. You bastards. I've never seen it where they've not sold magazines to us with a gun. I mean, it happens years ago on occasion with a real orphan firearm. But for $500, this is a baseline kit, and it is, of course, a Remington R15-223, and it is in full camo pattern. So as far as having to deck it out in the other way, no, you're pretty well done. And Cryptech is a Cryptech name brand for and the Highlander camouflage, and they do have them in stock. They claim it is in the bargains and deals for the time being. $500 is a bargain nowadays. Well, it's not even a complete gun. I will say that, as I pointed out. And expect that to be an issue with a lot of different bits and pieces you're going to find here and there. Now, somebody just asked me, well, what charging handle to buy? Cheapest to get the most done fast. Get one. If you think you want to upgrade to something else, do that later. You can find the cheapest charging handle you can get your hands on, find the cheapest bulk carrier in an M16 pattern, run that, and get on down the road to the next one. With the situation the way it is, we're looking for stuff that's most reasonably affordable so that we can get more people armed in the shortest period of time possible. Another gun I mentioned before, the Thompson Center Compass series of rifles. I've mentioned these several times. Under $300 for a bolt gun. They do have them, they claim, in 30-06, 300 Win Mag, 270, 308, and 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, these have the threaded barrels. So if you were looking at certain mission in life with these, then, considering making it a little quieter rifle, I don't know about that with 30-06 or 300 Win Mag, but certainly you can add flash hiders, a number of other options that are available, and yes, they do have institutional quieting devices that are available. You might be running across down the road, but still, as a basic arm, these are a decent rifle. Everybody's been giving them good reviews. People that we know that bought them when we mentioned them about, a month ago, that have already had them, have had a chance to shoot them more. A lot are just using a flat 9-power scope on the roof, but you can go to a 3 to 12 variable, 9 to 12 variable. There's a number of different scopes. Optics are, throw the dice, there's so much out there. But I like a 9-power as a basic center. No adjustments, no strange, variations, just a straightforward tube, straight 9, and then calculate with my brain what the rest of the, let's just say target acquisition, how it's going to work with the cross. So, again, Thompson Center 30-06. This is the Thompson Center Compass rifles. They are over at CDNN Investments. They're running $189.99. Let's just say 100. Don't forgive me, 100. Kick me in the microphone. Slap me in the head. $289.99, which is $290. I'd throw the penny in there just to be safe, and I think we can. There's nothing that's jumping out anywhere that is really making me excited.
Hey, Mark.
But there are some other pistols out there that we're going to talk about in a minute here, because we got a caller. Who do we have?
This is Tex-Mex. Did you say that was that Compass for that price?
Whoa, I'm losing you. You faded right off for some reason.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in the car.
Okay.
Did you say that was the Compass rifle, that 30-06 for, was it 300 or 200?
For $290, yeah.
For a 30-06 in a Compass.
Yep, it's at CDNN Investments right now.
That's a tag driver that because it's based. I forget the parent company for that rifle, but it's only 3 rounds, but it's supposed to be a real tag driver.
Yeah, it's a Thompson Center. Same people who used to make the Thompson Contender, Thompson Center, Contender. In this case, this is their bolt action rifle family. They have the /06, the 300 Win Mag, 270. 308/762 NATO, and they also have the 6.5 Creedmoor. And to be quite honest, I'd go right now the 30-06, and then it's just your choice. If you got a 300 Win Mag or you wanted to put a 300 Win Mag on the shelf, this is the cheapest you're going to find. Now you're going to have to start scrambling for ammo. But all of the guns, just pretty much cookie cutter. Another thing, if you want a golf bag rack of guns, you could virtually buy one in every caliber, and you just pick it up, put it to the shoulder, and you're already familiar with everything. But you're talking a very reasonable price. The guns are, quite habit-forming towards consistency. In other words, they're very accurate. And the neat thing is, again, it's an off-the-shelf rifle ready to roll. This still needs optics. This comes nothing on the top of the gun. It is the basic rifle itself. You still have to buy optics, but that's still a good price. There was a deal about a month and a half ago for the same gun with a simple scope on the roof, but that's I haven't seen it. I'm not seeing it show up here and pop up in the advertisements. So I think that was a promotional, and it's already gone. Especially
Mark.
there we go. Go right ahead.
Yeah, that's probably going to have a synthetic stock on it, so you're not going to probably want to shoot it, just a whole lot. And another thing I wanted to say real quick was, now that you've been talking about people purchasing guns and putting guns together and everything, let's make sure we can keep our guns. I'm out here in Central Texas, and there's been a lot of reports. Even the local news has been telling everybody, if you're carrying guns in your vehicles, be sure to lock them up. It seems like there's been some extra activity, and they are picking, all they got to do is see an NRA sticker or something like that, and they're hitting those, and they've been picking up, somebody's been picking up quite a few guns. And I noticed that there's been some, in smaller towns, some of the gun shops have been hit, and none of this is making the big news.
And again, this is something we talked about, too, about operational security right now, especially. Rule number 1, don't leave a vehicle unattended. A couple things about that. Thank you for bringing this up. Number 1, try to park your vehicle where it can be observed by you whenever possible. Even if it means waiting for a minute for a parking space. If you're going to go into some place, a business, try to establish regular physical security, visible security of your equipment, number 1. Number 2, when you do pull into a parking space nowadays, back in so that you can pull out quickly. Remember that. Back in so that you can pull out quickly. It is an escape process that you need to already have established. With regard to securing the weapons, if you're going to have something on board, again, you have to be religious when you leave. You got to make sure you've got it secured in such a way that it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to access. You have to be creative in a vehicle. There's only so many places you can hide it. And you remember that thieves already have a pattern, just like they do when they go in your house. They go to the closet, they go under the bed, they look in between the mattress. Those are the first places they go. And then they work out from there. But typically they figure that the average person is consistently lazy. They are going to find a particular pattern that, and they have, that they can count on. So you all need to be thinking through in advance what you're going to be doing. And again, whenever possible, take the weapon with you. This is what gun cases are for. It's one thing to be open carrying a gun over your shoulder or having it, but you can put it into a case and lock it up and carry it with you. Take whatever you can with you. Even, I'll tell you what, here's a little trick. How many of you like playing the guitar? Well, your AK fits just fine even with the magazine in a guitar case. So you might all want to take up instruments now. Or if you are carrying cases where you're carrying guns that, are maybe a little unique in shape, guys, go find the instrument bags that are flat and square, that don't look like gun cases. Let me give you another one that's really good is, for instance, tennis racket bags. That's another. Sports. In fact, you can even have a tennis racket stuck on and in the little carrier where, the head is covered with a plastic, the handle's exposed, and you have the handle buckled at the other end. Well, that's a good way to rigid up the bag so that when you have your folder AK or if you got that longer rifle in the main bag, nobody's really going to think about it because they're thinking sports while you're thinking long-range sports. Another one, I know the old violin case routine for, Thompsons and things like that. But think outside of the transport box. In fact, think differently. Golf bags, utility bags, any kind of cargo, change-up that you can do. But again, it's the idea, not many people are excited about necessarily guitars, not that they won't steal them, but especially if it's a beat-up, ratty old bag or case, it's a great way to carry a rifle with a couple extra mags, if not a dozen mags. You can have even some web gear hanging inside ready to go, so you open it up, the weapon's there, the chest pouch is there, a simple chest pouch, lightest possible, or maybe a bandolier. You got 6 mags, you got the rifle, everything's ready to go, away you are. You're in motion. So how many different types of unique transporters are out there that aren't gun-oriented that would work? And by the way, when you carry them into wherever you got to go, nobody's going to be thinking about it. You're going to keep your guitar case with you. You know what I mean? Just something that you should be all starting to orient towards. Another advantage, keep the weapon with you.
I recommend watching the mariachi.
Repeat, Tex-Mex, please.
I recommend watching the movie Mariachi, the Mariachi with.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Hey, what is in the there's this guy. He's going around shooting everyone. What have you got in your guitar case, right? And it's like, well, yeah. As a matter of fact, remember the one time? It is the guitar is what's in there. Yeah, but it's not all that's in there. So, just a little heads up on that one. Good point. Let's see. Okay. I got to do this before we go any farther. I had a couple of people asking again. I don't know how much is left, and it could almost be gone. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. 38 in stock. Hey, this time it popped up the way it's supposed to. Ammoman.com, 9mm Tula, 115 grain FMJ, 1,000 rounds, $330 delivered. And that is over at ammoman.com, 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 9mm Luger, Tula, or Tull ammo, 115 grain FMJ, 1,000 rounds for $330, and there are 38 cases left in stock. So if you're looking for some 9mm, they do have that. They don't have anything else in bulk. That's the only thing they got in bulk. Ammo Man's one of the bigger guys out there, and they don't have much anything left. What they got is what they got. When you see something like that, I'd recommend, if you really don't have any 9mm, better be spending some money on it. Another thing I would point out before I go away from the ammo real quick, and Tex-Mex is still here, I think, with the guys, 10mm is out there. Now, this is something that's interesting. Remember, we talked about this for the last couple years. The 10mm are coming back into vogue. Government's written an article, which any time somebody does a magazine article, God, it might as well just be like, I need to have one. Well, guess what? There are 10mm pistols out there. There are a bunch. And right now, you can get 10mm ammo even if you can't get anything else. So Blazer, 1,000 rounds, $372 for 1,000 rounds. Blazer Brass, 180 grain, $370 1,000. Let's see, PMC, 10mm auto, PMC Bronze, 170 grain. I'd get that. It's $305. It's the cheapest of the bunch. PMC is fine ammo. I shoot it all the time. If I decide to open up a certain can, if I'm going to shoot, I'll shoot PMC. And it reloads fine, too. It's just a little thinner case. Always remember that. PMC has got a little thinner wall production for their rifle and pistol. Not much, but a little. And $305 for, well, slap marking the microphone. It's $305 for 500 rounds. So guess what? I'd go one of the other crates up above for $300 and some for 1,000 rounds. Slap me the microphone. But they do have it. So, again, there is 10mm available. There ain't no 45 to speak of out there, 45 ACP, and not really any bulk. Everything's pretty well been gobbled up. And when you go to Ammo Man, same thing. It's all 50-round boxes or 20-round boxes, and it's $35 for 50 rounds, $47 for 50 rounds, etc. Now, another thing, and I have noticed this again, if you're looking for a high-powered rifle cartridge, or at least there should be some in stock or in inventory, 270 is out there still, and it's kind of been hanging around in the wind for the last couple of big cycles. It's one of the last calibers to run out. Now, it's because there's not as much 270 maybe as there used to be, but also the inventory has been pretty well replaced, replenished on a regular basis, just like Hot 6. So if anybody was asking a question here earlier, if I were looking at buying bulk ammo and I needed ammo and I needed a rifle, what I'd be looking at right now is what can I get in the way of ammunition, which would then determine which of those rifles we were just talking about, that was Thompson Center. If it looked like 270 was out there in force and I can't get the other calibers, guess which one I'm going to buy? I'll buy the 270 bolt gun, but I'll buy the ammo right now tonight. I'd be buying ammunition and stacking it up. That's how you need to look at it. It's ammunition, and then is the gun available? Now, in this case, it's a bolt-action scoped rifle, so there's no big deal. There's no mags to worry about. I need to find optics, but otherwise, I pick a flavor of whatever load is preferred here. They got like 150 grain, 130 grain, and then 2 other 130 grains by Hornady, which means they're probably Preview Partisan. And then looks like you got some Barnes 270 Win also. So there's an example right there about how would I do the math. I'd be looking for the volume in a particular caliber, then look at that rifle and see which one, they're all the same price, matches up with that, buy that rifle, now you're squared away. But you also know that you have sufficient ammunition to keep you in business, but you invest heavily in the ammunition, okay? Example, Federal Power Shock is $21.50 a box for 20 rounds. Federal Standard Ammunition, 270 grain, 130 grain, or forgive me, 270 Win, 130 grain soft point for $23.50. Which would I buy? I'd grab all of the first because it's $21.50 for 20 rounds. The Hornady is almost twice that much. And again, so is the Barnes. So I'd be investing heavily in Federal. I'd buy as many boxes as they had left, maybe even buy them out. There's 120 boxes, 20 rounds each. That's all they got of that. So you figure out how much money you could invest in ammo and how much you're going to spend on the rifle. And don't forget, you may still need optics depending on the weapon. Now, another thing I've had a bunch of questions about, once again, old military. This happened during the hour break, plus you guys sent me some emails yesterday after we did the program I missed. In the British, the 765 Argentine I've mentioned several times in the last couple days, 7.5 Swiss, 7.5 French. You're going to have to look around, and some of the stuff is totally out of inventory. Now, I do like Ammo Man because if they're completely out, they take it off the roll. So that's one nice thing about Ammo Man. When you go over there, they don't waste very much of your time. Otherwise, if I was looking at any of the military calibers, again, ball ammo preferably, surplus if it is cheaper because you need more ammo for less. The problem, a lot of the ammunition, like I told you, if you didn't do the Preview Partisan when it was available, it's either not available, it's now unobtainium, or the price is ridiculous. And there's where the problem is. If I have maybe no ammo, but I got a rifle, even if it costs a little more, you buy at least one box. 20 rounds will get you 20 other rifles if you use that weapon as a snag bag, something to like, a little bit like clubbing them like a baby seal. You put one bullet right in the beaner, you strip that enemy sentry or you strip that enemy driver, whoever it is you put a bullet in, now you're upgraded. But you need ammunition for every weapon you have. Every weapon, if it's already manufactured and you already have it in hand, then yes, spend the money, acquire more of the arms that are needed. Spend the money, the ammunition that's needed for the arms you have. Another thing, some of the smaller calibers have dried up immediately. I know that. There have been some comments. For all you guys that have... Okay. Anyway, as it is, with most of the smaller calibers, the only thing we can do next, obviously, check your local gun shop, see what you can find there. If you got a smaller pistol, 25 ACP, 32 ACP, or anything that's odd, some of the you don't even have an ammunition don't have ammunition available. There's some odds and ends stuff that simply hasn't been available for quite some time. Not going to get into that. Some of these you're going to get frustrated with. Don't. It's just that it's done unless you could go to the custom builders. Example is 32 or 30 caliber French pistol. It's basically 32, and there are tricks. But right now, just put the weapon off into the arms locker and make sure it's oiled up. We'll work on it later. All of the standard commercial calibers, 243, 270, seem to at least be able to find them somewhere. I know that there's 338 Lapua starting to just vaporize. The same is true with, by the way, 357 SIG. A lot of people that have the 357 SIGs know that, well, other than building from scratch with a 40 Smith, grab what you can while you can. Over at Ammo Man, they got some 357 SIG, 150 grain, jacketed soft point, $32. Whoa. But that's what they got. It's what they got. It's all they got. So anyway, let's see, 357. Ooh, oh, correction. Oh, that was the... No, I've only got two. The other is an unobtained. So again, pay attention and be careful there. And Ammo Man is not the only one out there, as you know that. But we've not been seeing anything. There's no bright horizon anywhere. The big thing is just scour until you find it, then move on to the next feeding hole, because that grain elevator is empty. Okay. Another thing, don't forget your crossbows, bows and arrows. Guys, like with a lot of stuff that's going on right now, a black arrow would really be cool to go into a crowd of Hunyaks doing what they're doing around the country. Comes in from nowhere, nobody can be sure, hits somebody, you don't care who, back off, pick another direction, fire in directly, let the bolt drop into the target area. If it's clustered enough, somebody gets tagged. You don't care how they get tagged. You just want to make sure that, again, bad guys start to get hit. So there's a number of tricks. There's a number of techniques that work, and it is something that you better take seriously. Now, the other thing, we've talked about flame weapons. It's Weapons Wednesday. Guys, remember, simple plumbing. Don't try to go space age. Go crude Russian. Russians use crude. They use plumbing fixtures, gas plumbing fixtures. It makes sense. They're heavier than sin. Some of the equipment the Russians made, 70, 80 pounds for a man-pack unit. But you know what? It didn't fail. Now, depending on where you are and what you're going to be doing with it, a flame projector weapon, remember with high-low fuel burn, is a great way to break the spine of any advancing hut gun confiscation unit, any Antifa mob that thought they were going to come in and rape, kill, pillage, and burn. Molotovs, as I've told you, they've already had a bunch of individuals that have lit their own hind end up like the Human Torch. I'm not surprised. It's exactly what I warned you about, because, again, what you see in the movies isn't necessarily what works in real life safely, okay? Now, on that note, I would say, like I said, with the training, reinforcing, pump shotguns were really great because they make all kinds of noise, and it looks cool because your arms are moving. It's very dynamic. Well, the cool thing is that at least through conditioning, everybody knows how to work a pump shotgun. So, that's cool. We can live with that. On the other hand, Molotovs and other things that they show you, or that things they don't show you, are the things that we need to take into consideration and correct before they become a problem, and somebody near you lights not only themselves up, but you too, because they don't know how to use flame weapons, okay? Another thing, remember, at the very least, if you're going to use combustibles, you can pre-deploy them out to your front. Now, don't put them too close, because, remember, everybody miscalculates how combustible/gasoline fuel devices or other enhanced devices follow the path of least resistance. I can demonstrate and show you on the road where many people miscalculated what would happen if a gas tank blew up on a vehicle, even though they might be close to 60, 70, 80 yards away. Blasts will follow particular deflection lines and can be very focused, both with regard to explosion and combustibles. And remember, if there is an explosion from the core, a lot of the unburned element, which of course becomes a fuel wall, the material is pushed out in front of the blast wave, so to speak, but right on the edge of it. And this means that it's self-feeding. And it will do just exactly that right up until where it finds somebody that was unsuspecting, and they're consumed or at least enveloped in the combustible. So you need to constantly be thinking about and understanding not only wind, but structure in the area, especially when you're using flamethrowers. By the way, flamethrowers in basements, tunnels, and places also consume oxygen. You might be found face down, for lack of oxygen and dead from the use of your own weapons. So understand the limitations of flame weapons and why you either are up and out of an area that you're going to hose down if it's in a basement, or a tunnel or a channelway that the enemy's trying to use that you maybe have passed through. Make sure that everybody's clear that's friendly. Make sure that you're out and about, but not inside the containment area. Because wherever it is that the flame agent's going to be used, oxygen's going to be pulled. At the very least, it's going to drop them all for lack of air, okay? H2O, well, water, moisture, vapor, everything's gone. So oxygen is really what they need. Let's see, what else do we have here real quick? Yeah, there is 25 automatic for everybody out there. You can find it. If you're going to use a 25, aim for the crotch, aim for the face. But if you do, make sure you got them. Make sure you puddle it right up into maybe the throat area. Usually, people miscalculate recoil. The advantage about aiming at the throat / where the gorget normally be, we've talked about in body armor, is that your rounds ride up into and stipple that whole area around the throat, around the esophageal airway, busting up the face. Bullets hopefully traveling and following the path of least resistance might even find a little gray matter there. So 25s aren't out of the question. Just understand how it is you're going to use them. And they're a weapon to get you to another weapon, just like everything else. Also, they do bark like a dog, if nothing else. If you haven't heard a 25, well, it's just a 25. They told me that's nothing. Well, all weapons make noise. 25s and 32s bark like a dog, if nothing else, and contribute well to the din of the battlefield when the time comes. Okay, otherwise, of course, we have seen what's going on in the St. Louis area, and not a surprise there. Again, fine, liberal couple. Somebody wanted me to comment on that. The guy with the pink polo shirt's a lawyer. These guys make money hand over fist. They were, as was commented on Tucker Carlson by the gentleman himself, that, wow, he was defending and has been defending black people in St. Louis forever, committed to coming back into the city. Originally, he lived out in the suburbs years ago, and the reward was to be attacked. So, yeah, you see what you get? Well, maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't. I doubt they'll learn. But, as is typically the case, a couple of liberals that were armed. How could this be? Yeah. We got a caller. Who do we have?
Oh, this is Fluffy. I saw that lawyer being interviewed on the Communist News Network, and they tried over and over to twist it that he was assaulting the Black Lives Matter people who tore down his gate and came in. And surprisingly enough, over and over he said no, that was not the case. Those people came in and threatened to kill him, his wife, and even his dog, and burn down his house. And he wouldn't let them twist it to be twist the story against him. I was surprised and pleased that even a liberal scumbag like that would not let them do that.
Well, he's a lawyer. What have I said a million times? Just keep repeating what he said. I was in fear for my life. I was in fear for my life. I was in fear for my life. And rightly so. It's one of the things he did say on Tucker Carlson, and I'll repeat it in paraphrase, but basically what he said is that, we were on our property. We told them, don't, back off. They threatened us. I was in fear for my life. We just watched them burn down, the downtown area. They started by supposedly peacefully marching. Then they started screaming at people. Then they started attacking people. Then they started killing and burning places down. And I wasn't going to let that happen to myself or my wife or my property. And then he reemphasized, like you said, they threatened to kill me, they threatened to kill my wife, they threatened to kill my dog, they said they're going to burn the house down, said they were going to burn the house down and come in and occupy it, all this other garbage. Well, I take them at their word. See, that's the part they've made a mistake. Plenty of opportunity to see exactly what's going on. When that character in New Mexico said, I'm going to kill you, when that communist rushed forward, we're going to kill you, we're going to kill you. Oh, I have full confidence. I believe exactly what you're saying. Pop, 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 pop. And there's your reward. Congratulations. Hold my bullets. Now, that's a good thing. That's exactly how, what should be happening more. However, we're moving into the next phase. The escalation phase here, the Israeli Mossad will be helping, they have been helping the communists on the ground inside the U.S. This has been a planned exercise. Elements of the government, our government, the U.S. government, the Fed end especially, elements of the Chinese, and certainly the Israelis / the kosher mafia are the ones who have orchestrated this thing from the get-go. And because of that, they've got to up the ante because things are pittering and not the way they wanted. So the next step is going to be just like we saw in the 60s and early 70s, bombing phase. And they will try to lie about who did it. They will deflect whatever they can. But the bottom line is it'll be the communists doing what they've done before, different degrees and levels. Throw most of the BS you see in the movies out the window. It's totally irrelevant. It's garbage. It's lies. How it really will work is everything from small ordnance, including pipe bombs, large fireworks that are in reality like small grenades, all the way up to, conventional munitions. There's a lot of stuff laying around. I expect the Israelis have, because they've been given trillions of our dollars because their buddies are the ones stealing everything from the U.S., when they do what they're going to do here shortly, and now we're into July, this is the first, then it's going to continue to escalate, and the next phase is the bomb phase. So be prepared for it. Pay attention. They obviously are frothing at the mouth about the rally with Mount Rushmore. They keep mentioning Mount Rushmore. Guys, when they keep harping like that, the Fed's going to let the criminals get in to do what they're going to do, and then they won't catch the ones who did it, but they'll try to claim somebody else did. That's a scam that's coming. Everybody be ready for it. Everybody understand it's the nature of the creature, what's been happening and happened in the past and what's happening right now. So we just need to be prepared for it. Again, talk about it. Tell everybody, hey, here's what's coming. And that way nobody gets caught by surprise, but everybody's going to look at you like, how did you know? Pretty straightforward. History repeats ad nauseum, repeats ad nauseum. And that's where we are headed.
Plus, they
right
said
now.
what they were going to do, so there's no excuse not to.
Repeat? I'm sorry. You're a little fuzzy for some reason tonight. It's coming through, but not quite. Try that again.
I just said plus they have said what they're going to do, so there is no excuse not to know.
Right. Yeah, the other side, well, they already flat out mapped everything out. And again, it's not like we're in the dark about this. We have seen this before, as they say. As a matter of fact, interesting. And as a matter of fact, yeah, somebody else is saying in their area, in fact, right now, what is it, in the Colorado area, they are beating the gong about, what's coming next, what's coming next. Guys, when you see that, these are all preparatories. Okay, preparatory. This is all part of it's like semi-subliminal is what it comes down to, but it is right out in your face. And they are telling you what they're planning on doing. We just need to be ready for it, ready to deal with it, and we're not going to be fooled by it. We won't be fooled again. Remember that song? Yeah, I remember that. Notice they're not playing that anymore because everybody's being fooled again. In fact, with the coronavirus, they're already being fooled again. Stupid. So stupid. So, see, next, we're almost to the top, guys. You know what? With uniforms and gear, here's a little secret. If all else fails, coveralls. I'm going to point out that, uniform pants are non-existent. I went through the wholesalers, talked to 6 of them today. Of the 6, 5 said inventories on pant wear are like impossible. They're not getting any reliable inventory. They're also not getting the answer from the normal sources. And this is something I kind of suspected by what I'm seeing. Plenty of tops, plenty of coats, no pants. And camouflage of even modern pattern. And if it is, it's all smalls, extra smalls, etc. So, OD green pants or green-gray pants for your unit, and then treat the camo top as like a camo blouse item that is special issue. But coveralls are another place to go for the moment to still get some camouflage for a reasonable price. A lot of it's armor, tanker, or mechanic. Remember, you're looking at a lot of that really because of the nature of also how a lot of the coveralls are built. They're actually a little more heavily insulated or built in general. So we may also be looking at them more as a fall to winter uniform, but at least you would have additional clothing, and it would be tactical and uniform. I hear the music. We are at the top. For everybody out there, organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. God bless our republic.
Yes, the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run.
And we are on the march, both day and night.
Well, guys, we'll be back on the march, same time. Get organized. Stay squared away. God bless. Bye-bye.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I'd shun, man. Cause I've had so much fun, man. Couldn't stop one man. Cause I've shot every gun. Winchester, Seiko, Bruno, Remington, Colt, Light, Sterling, Smith, and Wesson, Anfield, Armalite, Puckhead, Rico, Henry, Taurus, Luger, Browning, Weatherby, CZ, Bentley, Kimber, BSA, shot Savage, HK. I shot every gun, man. I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I shun, man. Cause I've had so much fun, man. Well, I couldn't stop one man. Cause I've shot every gun.